Well, hey gang, how are you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report, coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, and covering all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet for July 2nd through the 9th of 2021. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for checking in. Please do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, like, and please don't forget to subscribe. That would be a big favor to us as well. Listen, let's just jump right into it, okay? Take a look at the fishing gallery. I'll catch you on the other side of this, but take a look at all the photos this week, and that'll give you a better idea of what's been going on. Okay, now that you've seen some of the photos, I can give you some explanation as to what went on this past week. I'll tell you what, I was a little bit worried about what was going to happen. 2 weeks ago, we had Storm Enrique, whether you want to call it a hurricane, tropical storm. It hit us a little bit further south, a lot stronger further south than it was here in La Paz, but we still got some rain, got some wind, and anytime we have any kind of a major disturbance like that, I'm always worried about what it's going to do to the water. Now, prior to the storm, fishing had been really good. I mean, we had marlin, we had some tuna pop up, we had lots of dorado, big dorado, rooster fish, all kinds of fish happening. So when you have a storm, I don't know is that going to create a lot of runoff from all the rainwater? It's going to dirty up the waters. A lot of wind, is that going to disturb the waters as well? Is it going to bring up some of that cold water from down deep and really mess things up? Well, after all was said and done, it wasn't too bad. Things recovered a lot faster than I thought. There had not been a lot of rain in our area, at least, so there wasn't a lot of muddy runoff to dirty up the waters. We did have some winds, which still continued kind of on and off even after the storm passed, so waters took a little bit of time to calm down. It was a little bit bumpy out there and continues to be to some degree, but overall things settled down very nicely. The big thing that did happen was that these winds that keep coming up from the south, they disturbed and really distributed some of the sargasso weed. Now, sargasso weed is the equivalent of like a kelp patty, and when they gather up, what happens is bait gathers up under it, bait fish gets under it. A lot of these flying fish lay their eggs in it. A really big attractant. They're like a fish hotel because other sport fish come under them. They start chewing on some of the eggs. They chew on they chase the bait fish around, and it really helps pull a lot of the fish closer into a certain spot, especially Dorado. And when we had all of these sargasso weed building up in the channel, we had an outstanding Dorado bite. It was incredible. Well, these winds have kind of distributed those patches of patties, and so some of these weeds have kind of blown apart a little bit. But with each passing day, these patties are starting to gather up again, and interestingly and not surprisingly, the Dorado bite has gotten better. The Dorado continue to be some of the biggest and most ferocious, I have to say, Dorado that I've seen in a long time. The average Dorado normally during this time, 5 to 15 pounds, maybe a 20 pounder is pretty big. for this time of year in a normal year. This is not a normal year. Last year, as many of you know, with COVID, everything was shut down here. That means no scuba diving, no snorkeling, no booze cruises, no sport fishing, none of the commercial guys out there disturbing the bait, none of the commercial guys were out there catching any fish. So Mother Nature had a whole year off, and what that has resulted in is this year some of the biggest, largest fish we've seen in a long time, and that included the Dorado. The Dorado right now, 5, 10, 15 pounders, sure, we've got those, but the 15 to 25 to 30 pounders are not unusual. We've had some boats come back and their box is full. They didn't catch a whole bunch of little ones, but it's sure stuffed with 4, 5, 6, 30-pound fish, and that makes for a lot of fillets at the end of the day. A lot of fun. A lot of these bigger fish are getting away as well. You know, some folks are used to, on these 10-pounders, great, I can catch them all day, I can catch and release. Well, you hook one of these 30 or 40-pound fish, that's going to be a little bit tougher fight, and they're having a lot of fun, but a lot of these fish are also getting lost. So we do still have Dorado around, not as many as before, but we've still got big Dorado, and there's enough to keep everybody happy and to have some fun. So we've got Dorado. The biggest news, though, is that even after the storm, we've still got these marlin around. I've never seen marlin like this before. I mean, yesterday, for example, one of my captains counted 46 boats over at Las Arenas, and he estimated that probably 3/4 of those hooked at least one marlin. The marlin are so thick right now. And there's some small ones, they're 100-pounders, but there's some larger ones. We had some 200 and 300-pound blue marlin hook this week. But even the boats that aren't trying to catch them, if you're just offshore in anything deeper than, 20 or 30 feet of water, there's a possibility that a billfish is going to bite. So if you wanted an opportunity to hook a billfish, this is probably the right time of year. This is probably the right year to come down. I'll tell you what, if you've a lot of folks have hooked marlin before. You've gone on your big sport fishers out of Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, all the other places around the world. If you've never hooked a marlin on a panga, close to shore on light tackle, you're in for a fight. And I'll tell you, the photos that you saw this week, that represents maybe 1% of the marlin that we hooked this week. Some of the boats are hooking 2, 3, 4 marlin per day. Most of these fish are breaking off. Most of these fish are getting released. So before you send me any emails, most of the fish, at least in our fleet, we are releasing these. A lot of the fish that you're seeing in my fishing report, those fish did get released. If they are on the table and you see it on the beach with the folks holding them, those are fish that either could not be released or, listen, folks are entitled to keep one marlin. So that's what's going on. I want you to know that we are releasing the majority of our marlin. Folks, they like to fight them, but, really, ultimately, they'd like to have some pargo, they'd like some capria, they'd like some dorado, they'd like some other species to bring home rather than fill their entire ice chest with 100 pounds of marlin fillets. So just to let you know that we are releasing most of the marlin, and a good majority of them are also breaking off. When you're in the middle of a dorado school and you're fishing with 30, 25-pound test, and a marlin comes up, because the marlin are eating the little baits, but they're also eating the dorado. When you hook one of those on a little hook, you're in for a big fight, and the chances of actually landing that fish are very small. But don't let me put this down. This is a lot of fun. So marlin are there, dorado are there, big rooster fish still around as well. Most of the God, I can't talk this morning. Most of the rooster fish right now are in that 10 to 20 pound class, a lot of fun. But if you're chasing the big boys are still here also. And I'm talking 40, 50, 60, 80 pound rooster fish still in the area, still eating the big baits. There aren't as many sabalo, these big lady fish that we use, but we are using cocineros, caballitos, and we're also using mackerel, and that's attracting some of these big fish. Other species, pargo cabria, jack crevalle, bonito, any of those fish, if you want to stay close to shore and you just want to have some fun and you want to have a day full of action, no shortage on those species as well. It wasn't a fantastic week of fishing. I won't kid you about that, but it was a very steady, very good week of fishing. Everyone who wanted fish caught fish. Everyone who pretty much wanted a marlin hooked to marlin as well. Same with the rooster fish. So a lot of action happening. If you're coming down this week, let you know that there's a lot of bait. Everything's going real smoothly down here, and I anticipate it's going to be good weather from here on out, at least for the next week. So we'll check in later with you. This is Jonathan for the Mexican Minute, La Paz Video Fishing Report. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for checking and spending some time with us. We'll catch you next week. God bless.